Hey everybody, MI Timberwookie here. Not too long ago, my good buddy 39 Camper and another buddy Eric, or Bush Bummer, they had mentioned some of these little oil lamps that I've been making and gifting around a little bit here. And 39 Camper had gifted one to Bush Bummer, and he was nice enough to show it on his channel. And I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about what they are and why I made them to begin with, and some of the pros and cons, and show you how they've evolved for me, and as well as a great little upgrade that I've managed to find. So I had started out with these little ball mason jars. They're pretty readily available in the summer months at a lot of stores. This one's a 250 milliliter. And I liked them because they were kind of short and squat. It's not something that's going to tip over easily on a table. And in spite of the fact that they're glass, it's a pretty durable. I mean, it's going to take quite a jar to shatter that up. So they're pretty stout. And I just thought that would make a really good container for some type of an emergency lamp. And one of the reasons that I wanted one is because where I live is every time we get a thunderstorm or a windstorm, we lose power. My neighborhood gets to sounding like a campground whenever we lose power because so many people have backup generators here. So an additional light source was one of the reasons that I made this to begin with. I purchased some 1/8 inch wick from a hobby store, but you can get it at just about any store that carries lamps or kerosene lamps and fuels and stuff. This one is a 1/8 inch round. They also make a flatter one for some of your other lamps. In the future I might switch over to the flat ribbon type. But this is what I bought, so this is what I used. But then I needed something to hold the wick in the jar. And what I did is I went with some gardening wire. And I think just about any kind of wire, as long as it'll hold up to the heat, should work. Let's see if I can get this off without spilling it all over. So as you can see, I kind of coiled that wire up in there, and I kind of coiled a little handle that I can set on this rim and lift it in and out. So if I need to adjust this wick, I can pull it up higher or lower, and tighten a curl at the end there to hold the wick. So the next thing I needed was fuel. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to try this. Was I'm using 100% extra virgin olive oil. As I mentioned, this was kind of for emergency power outages, you know, to give that candle source, if you will. And I didn't want a fuel source that was so flammable that you're bumbling around in a low lit house and you bump a table or something, it's going to spill over and ignite and become a big fire hazard, and basically becomes a bigger danger than a help. Well, olive oil is not really that flammable. In fact, you can see that we have all this open space in our wick just riding right on top of it that will not ignite. It's such a slow burning oil. Nothing at all like kerosene or some of your other lamp fuels. So it's a really safe option to have as a fuel for indoor power outages. So the more that I got to using these, the more I liked them. Instead of just having it as something that would sit on a shelf and be waiting for an emergency, I started using them outdoors around the picnic table and around the campfire at night, and they give a great little ambience to them. In fact, you could even use them decoratively. Well, with the holidays coming up, you could add a little cinnamon essence or some kind of scent, whatever you like, to there, and maybe flavor it up a little bit. But I really liked the idea that, everything can be stuffed back down into that jar, and you snap a lid on it and cinch it down good and tight. And the more I thought about that, the more I realized, hey, this is something that could be used out camping. You could throw that in your pack and take it out with you. So, discussing some of the cons of this. Obviously it is glass, and glass can break. It can be kind of messy. Anytime you have to adjust that wick, or when you first open it and pull that out, it can be a bit messy. The big wide mouth on there and the light often attracts a lot of bugs, and they fall inside of the oil, and you end up with quite the bug collection by the time you're done. They are also a little bit heavy, so if you're an ultralight backpacker type of person, this may not be the best option for you. They do add some weight. I have not timed it, but I will say that for the amount of fuel that's there, they burn for quite a long time. I'm going to guess anywhere from 15 to 20 hours at least. So they do burn for quite a while, but like I said, they add a little bit of weight. They are glass, and they do have a tendency to collect bugs. And with those things in mind, it kind of brings me to a great little upgrade that I found while watching YouTube. Blake Bushcraft. He had a great idea on a little lantern that he had made from a mason jar. And I contacted him and I said, hey man, do you mind if I steal that idea? It was such a great idea, and it just looked like the perfect fix for some of these issues that I have with this. So I'll get to that upgrade. So Blake was nice enough to PM me back, and he said, heck no, that's my idea, don't you steal it. No, quite the opposite. He said, absolutely, go for it, share it with everybody. That's one of the wonderful things about YouTube and this great community that we're in. And what Blake did was he introduced a second lid and popped a hole. I think in his video he used the ribbon-shaped wick, and he actually used a slice. And that may work better because you're going to fold it over. So I'm going to try to thread this wick through the hole and get right back to you. So now I've got my wick threaded through here. So remove the other lids. We can fill this jar with the olive oil. I'm sure it'll take some time to let that wick soak up some of that oil, but in the end it's going to sit like so while it's lit, and this way we'll have a cover over it, a little reflective surface to give off some more light. The cover will help keep it from getting full of bugs, and when we're ready to pack up, we'll put our second lid right over the top of it. Screw it all down nice and tight. And we're ready to travel. No leaks, self-contained, less mess. Great idea, Blake. Thank you so much for letting me use it. Thank you so much for sharing it with everyone on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this one up and let the wick soak a bit, and we'll see how well it works. Oh yeah, I think that ought to do the trick. So there's a couple of options for homemade olive oil lamps for you. Remember, if you like what you see on my channel, go try it yourself.